Alan, tell me what drove you to tell this story.
Well, I had known Dre for many, many years as a friend, and we had did this music video with Eminem called I Need a Doctor. It kind of turned that into a career retrospective, and then the idea of this came up to do a documentary about Dre. And when I called HBO, they were in, they said, there's one problem though. We just greenlit an Interscope documentary with Jimmy Iovine. I said, let me call you right back. Because it was like, wow, that's a better, because I had known Jimmy as well for 25 years. So I knew them both, you know, and I knew what the story was. Yeah. And it was original, you know.
How difficult was it to get these two men to let you into their lives and tell their story?
I thought it would be easy because I knew them, and it wasn't simple. It was, you know, because my approach was not to do a fluff piece. And they didn't want to do a fluff piece either, but I don't think that they knew how far I wanted to go. Yeah. So it was difficult, but worth it, you know.
Was there anything that they didn't want you to delve into at all throughout the process?
Sure, there's many things that when you go into something like this, you agree, like, we're going to deal with these sensitive issues and let's agree to that right now. Yeah. And then there's things as you're shooting that they may be uncomfortable with. And I'd say that they were pretty reasonable. There were some things they were uncomfortable with that, you know, some fights I didn't win, but ultimately nothing that affected the narrative I wanted to tell. Okay. But it was always just pushing and pushing and pushing, and then eventually they bite my hand, and I knew, I'm like, all right, stop with that.
Yeah, you can see that a bit in the film.
Actually. Yeah. That's why I left that in there.
Yeah. Okay.
There was a technique I used to show what the process was to pull this stuff out of them and other subjects, where I kind of took the curtain down so you can see the give and take, you know, which I found fascinating.
So talk me through trying to get Dr. Dre, who's like notoriously private, to open up, to let you into the studio.
Well, the number one thing with Dre is that I think that 25 years of, when we made this film, we had known each other for 22 years. I think that helped. Yeah. That's why he opened up. But also, you know, he invited me on a holiday, and we would go in the Mediterranean for 3 weeks, or here, there, whatever, just go spend time with him and get to understand him. That went a long way, you know, towards him opening up, because those were like therapy sessions for both of us. And I filmed a lot of them, you know. So it wasn't tough in that we had that history, I think, you know. Okay. But it was challenging in that he doesn't normally do this.
It must be difficult to kind of tread the line between being a truthful documentarian and, someone who they're willing to let into their lives. Yeah.
And that's why I brought my partner in, Doug Prey, who's specialized in documentary filmmaking. I brought him in because he's brilliant, but he also helped me, like, with the journalistic line. Okay. When things were getting too close, where, you know, I know these guys, so you have to have that honesty maker, or whatever you want to call them, you know. The number one thing, the way I approached the interview, whether it was Tom Petty, Bruce Springsteen, Bono, the guys from NWA, Snoop Dogg, was the same way, which is I just made sure that I was present as a interested audience member. So when something was funny, I'd laugh my ass off. When something was serious, I just stayed focused on them and interested in a genuine way. And I just did what I would want people to do if I was telling a story, which is be crazy, mad, interested, you know, and react in the right places. And then when a story was told that had never been told before, encourage that story. So just be a big fan. Just be a massive fan, and then you see they start opening up and giving you a lot more.
Jimmy, I wanted to ask you, so in the Defiant Ones, you let the cameras into your life. What convinced you that that was, you know, a good thing to do? What made you do that?
Well, what made me do it was HBO were going to do a documentary on Interscope. And I thought the story of Interscope was interesting, not because we did this and we did that. Just there was a cultural moment in the 90s that I thought it caught and created a zeitgeist. And that's always interesting to me. So I canceled it. I said, I really don't want to dig up all this stuff and, you know, get into it, and it's going to center too much around me. I felt fine, so I killed it for 3 years. Then Alan Hughes went to HBO. He said, I have an idea. I want to do a documentary on Dre and Jimmy, a white and a black guy, that come together after really difficult times working and becoming recording engineers and making records, and then meet and have to stay together and go against a lot of the instincts that they learned when they were kids. and they got to trust each other. They got to believe. They got to not fear. And you know, when we met, I was 40 and Dre was 28, something like that. I was 39. He was 28, and we've never had an argument. And we just believed in each other, and we just kept going. I know what he does, he knows what I do. And it's been a fabulous, fabulous relationship.
We're talking about Jimmy and Dr. Dre.
Jimmy Iovine is the levitator. Dre is the innovator.
I need something a little bit more. Okay, so fast forward to he pops that tape, and I'm blown away. Everything that I've done in my career, I've always been underestimated.
Fear's a powerful thing. It's got a lot of firepower. It was the beginning, making fear a tailwind instead of a headwind.